Welcome back to another programming video. Today's topic is reading and writing text files. We're still on the chapter of file handling, and without wasting further time, let's jump straight into it. Now, in our last video, we looked at some common commands just to help us understand some basics when it comes to file handling, how to go about creating a new file, adding content to a file, outputting the content of the file, and copying files, and basically making a duplicate of those files, and then deleting the file at the end of the day. Now, those are commands that can be run from the terminal. But for this example or today's video, we're going to be using some built-in function, and we're going to be focusing on writing to a file. Now, the built-in function we're going to be using is called open. So open as in open like this, open close bracket. If you hover over it, it gives you the list of parameters that are required or you can pass in. But the one that I believe are important or should be passed in the whole time or required are the file itself, as well as the mode. So you need to always pass those to be able to have a good running code. Now, there are a list of modes available within the description. You have your open for reading mode, you have your open for writing, truncating the file first, and you have your X mode, create a new file and open it for writing, append for writing, and so on and so forth. But for today, we're going to be focusing on the writing mode, W, so first letter of the word writing. Now, combine that, we have the with word, which we associate with the open, and this allows us to basically ensure that the file automatically closes when done. Even if there is an error that happens in the process, because sometimes it does, you don't want the file to hang there or maybe not be able to close, or Python not knowing what to do. So the best way to prevent that from happening is by giving Python the power to be able to close a file even when there is an error in the process of reading or writing from reading from the file or writing to it. Now, that being said, I've gone ahead and created our code. So this is how you write it. So basically, your normal function of day-to-day will be something similar to this, where you only have open notes and pass the mode. So this will create the file, because currently you can see we do not have a file called node.txt. So if you just run that, it will create the file. But what we want is to implement this logic whereby we are actually creating the file, but we associate that with the keywords called with. So this will ensure that the file is closed automatically once we're done writing. So this is the content we're going to be adding to our file, which is basically, this is my first note, and then we'll leave it there. So what I will also do is make sure that there is a new line at the end of the text. So basically, all I want is whenever I decide to add something to that file, I want it to go to the next line. So let me explain. So first of all, we're going to write it as first note, and second time we're going to add a new line just to show the difference between the two. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and we're going to run our code, Python main, and pay attention, we do not have any file called node.txt, and we set the mode to write, meaning that it's going to write an override or create. So if there is a file called notes, it's going to write override whatever is there, including the content. That means that if you had some content, a file that had the content before, if you're on this command, it's going to remove that file and create a new one with the new content. So you want to pay attention that you are not In some cases, you may want that, but in other cases, you may just want to add to it. And that's something that you also want to pay attention to. So I'm going to run this code, and it's throwing an error. It says file, missing file. Oh, I see. That's because of that. Sorry about that. So cool. Let's clear that. That's a good example. So let's run that again, and then we have our file created. And if we can print that, you can see that this is my first node. Now you can see currently we have that being created. So I'm gonna change the mode to append, meaning A. And if we run the code one more time and we output the content, you can see that the first node, second part of text was added, but it was added straight after it. Now, what I want to do is do something different. So I'm going to say, put it on a new line. So backward slash letter N, and then we're going to run the code for the third time, but this time we're going to say not third. We're going to say third note, and then we're going to add that, and we're going to run output, and you can see that our text is now showing on the next line. So that's just another cool way to go about creating new lines, or maybe if you want things to follow one after the other, or you want things to be spaced in a certain way. So that's basically a simple way to go about doing that. And that is the process. So now if I go about clearing that, and let's say cat notes again, you can see the content, and then we're gonna do a fourth one just to demonstrate the logic here. And we're gonna run the code, and cat that again. You can see that we have this is the first, this is the first, this is the third, this is the fourth note. That's a cool way. Now the easy command here for writing to files is the following. And then now if we just want to remove the file, we can just say remove and notes.txt, and our file is gone, and we can clear our terminal, and that's basically all that there is. So I hope that you've learned something new, and today's video was basically focusing on writing to a file using the function, built-in function called open, and then passing in the parameters as known as the file path as well as the mode. And in this case we use the mode write, which is W, and we also use the mode A, which is append, meaning adding to existing file, and we're able to delete the file at the end of our commands. I hope you've learned something new. Until next time, keep well. Bye bye.